All right, welcome everybody to the Zoo Crew podcast. We always got a little something that gets us delayed, but we promise we're trying to give you as much as we can. We'll always be here.
This one is a stinky cord on your computer.
Yeah, we've got a tough cord on the computer, but we're okay now, right?
No, we're great. Hey, I got to tell you something, because we've all been going through the disease here for
COVID hell.
Yeah, for 18 months plus. I went outside today to that Fritzer Farms or whatever there by Greeley, and it's basically in the middle of a cornfield. And listen, I grew up in Kansas, so I know when you do stuff in the middle of farming fields. I mean, I can show you my shoes. I got 3 inches layers of dust. I came back and I'm stopped up. I sneezed a couple times. Finally took an allergy pill, but I'm like, once you get stuffed up, you're thinking, oh, automatically I've got to be sick or something. No, I just been in a dust bowl for an hour or two.
Yeah. I get it. Your dog wants to tell you hello. So, it's tough. Everything freaks you out now, right? You just got to make sure.
Absolutely. So. No, it's absolutely. See you, Turtle. See you, Hunt.
Yeah, there goes everybody. We love them. But anyway, yeah, what did you think of that, by the way? I'm a big Halloween guy. Like, I'd like to find some new stuff to do. We ended up going to the jack-o'-lantern thing at Hudson Gardens. That was cool.
You and I started covering the Broncos when we would have to drive up to Greeley 2 or 3 times a week to catch training camp. So it was a new, I hadn't had that drive in a few years. A lot of new buildings and housing divisions. And, I mean, it's not that same just barren speed trap highway that it used to be. Now, and when we first started going up, it was 2 lanes. Now, I mean, you got 4-lane highways. I mean, it's nice. But, it's weird. They got one of the largest corn mazes in Colorado.
Okay.
Channel 9 and all the channels always do the flyby above, and it's a picture, and it's it's always an art thing. They had Manning. One year the corn maze was Manning.
Okay.
And it's that big.
Yeah.
So you go in this thing, and it's me, the warden, and Ellie, and we're going in this thing, and we're in this thing, and it's honest to God like a movie. I see now why The Shining happened in a maze, right? Because you're screwed.
Yeah.
You're screwed. So eventually, luckily, she took this QR code and put it on her phone, and so about halfway through, we're going in circles. So we've been here. We're like putting footprints in the dust.
Right.
So we know where we were.
The fun is done.
For me, the fun was done. And all of a sudden, here comes Mr. Urination sitting there saying, I want to join the party. and there was a time I'm thinking, can I sneak into a corn stalk, relieve the bladder real fast, and no one will notice? Well, there's people running around all over. So long story short, we get out of that thing. She looks at the thing and says, it would take a normal person an hour normally to get out of this maze. Well, that's a long damn time. To be lost in a corn maze, an hour. It takes a normal person about an hour to figure out the maze. We were in that thing 2 hours and 20 minutes. we were walking over to the maze, and I'm like ready to go then. And I'm like, oh, hey, Warden, you ready to go? No, we're going to do this is a 3 or 4 hour program. She goes, what time is it? And I remember looking at my clock. It's 2:03. And we're walking towards the maze. We go in there. We do this little thing, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We probably walk into the maze 2:20. We walk out of that thing at 4:43. and because I looked at my phone, I said, because I would sweat, and then the sun started going down, it started getting chilly, had a T-shirt on, and it started getting a little cold for me. And I go, guess what time it is? Guess how long we were in there? And I told her, it's 4:43. She goes, no, it's not. I go, yes, it is. So did my phone. Unless an EMP had hit and GPS had gone off and, all the time stuff broke. We basically were in that thing for 2.5 hours. And then she read somewhere that it takes a normal person an hour. I'm like, well, there it goes right there.
Yeah.
We took an hour worth of fun and made it 2.5 hours.
See, that's the thing. I love Halloween. As you all know, you and I both love Halloween. That's kind of how the Zubu thing all started. You love telling ghost stories, and that's why we used to celebrate this time of year. Last year we did a podcast dedicated to it.
Which, by the way, can we just change the name of the travel channel to, can I scare
the Haunted Channel?
Can I, the Haunted Channel or something? Yeah. Because that's all they've done this whole month, and it's great.
The Paranormal Channel. Well, that's all they usually are.
It's great.
They don't go anywhere anymore. They don't travel.
Once the Jardine or whatever, the one guy, blew himself, and then all of a sudden, Now we don't have any cool destinations. I kind of like watching him go to different places.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know you're talking about Bourdain. Anthony
Bourdain.
Yeah.
And once, boom, he's gone now, and all of a sudden, no one cool is going out there that you like to see.
Well, Chef Ramsay was supposed to start. Gordon Ramsay was supposed to start doing that, but I don't think he's as.
But I think COVID got on, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to yell at some country because
right.
You prepared the worms wrong. I mean, Bourdain would go these places. Half the time he'd be drunk. You could tell. He's drinking the local liquor.
Didn't he remind you of your buddy Dave Krieger? I was like, I think Dave Krieger's like this guy. They're both writers, and they both were kind of eccentric in their own ways.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you this. And Krieger was eccentric and could be grumpy. But he was funnier than you realize, too.
He was funnier, and he was off the charts intelligence.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean.
He was a superstar. Although I freaked him out one night. We were sitting when I was still playing, and he was traveling, and he and I were hanging out in the room.
Right.
After ordering a lot of room service. And I freaked him out on a Richard Nixon take, and we laughed for like 30 minutes. So,
and that's how the bond was built.
Was built. So Dave and I Dave and I are 6 degrees separated by Richard Nixon.
Boom.
Somehow, yeah. But no, yeah. But it's all scary stuff on it, which I love, and the reenactments. Somebody, in fact, there's one of those guys that does the scary movies is going to start doing the reenactments for them.
I saw that,
to make it more real, because the reenactments are horrible usually.
Well, it's funny because now my daughter's gotten really into Ghost Adventures. She's 18, and so she sits and watches them with me, and she just makes fun of the reenactment. Like we had one the other day. They went to the farmhouse that apparently inspired The Conjuring on Ghost Adventures.
Ooh.
But apparently in this house, some crazy lady killed a baby. So they, of course, had to have a baby and go through. And my daughter's just like, "What are you showing us this for?"
Yeah.
We got the idea.
I don't know. You've actually interviewed a couple of those guys from Ghost Adventures, right?
Well, I interviewed what was his name? Nick, the one that dropped off. Zach is still going, and Aaron are still going, but Nick, for some I read something where Nick and Zach, because they were the two dudes that started it. I read Nick's book about it. They apparently had a falling out of something. And then Nick tried to do his own thing, and it's just never.
Well, and so Zach, and then what's the bald guy?
Aaron.
So the Warren makes fun of that show, too. She watches it with me and puts it up with it because I watch it. And she just kills it and crushes it the whole time. I will say this. Aaron's always going to be touched and scratched. He's always going to scream loud when you got some cool voice going, "Oh, I want to, 50% off at Target," whatever the ghost is saying, and he's sitting there screaming. You always know he's gonna,
and Zach's gonna make him go do it.
And then once he goes off and gets touched, I said, watch within 30 seconds. So will Zach.
Zach will decide something's affecting him.
Zach can't let somebody else have.
Can I just tell you?
Now it's like they're acting. I don't know how much it's real and how much they're acting.
I'm with you. What I used to love, and you and I started all this. Because we found out we had a mutual love of the show Fear on MTV. Remember that?
Yeah.
And now it turned out that was fake too. But I don't care. I love the thought of these people being in these scary spots, right? And it's funny because now they've all gone and explored some of the same places Fear went to. But like when the Ghost Adventure started, I know you had your boy Brendan Schaub on the other day. He was in one of them. But it was raw. It was just these cameras. Now you got all these stupid devices with their stick figure things. And you said, now he's all, well, I'm being affected by. Yeah. It was just video cameras and quiet. Yeah.
Well, I like the two dudes. And the one guy, the bald guy, that has his own show, too. I don't remember names and stuff. But
Jason Hawes? Yeah, Ghost Adventures.
Yeah, Hawes has his own little show now. But him and the other guy, they were Roto-Rooter plumbermen.
Right. It's not Ghost Adventures. What were they called? Ghost
Explorers.
Something.
Ghost Explorers or something like that.
Yeah.
But they, I like them. That's what got me on it initially. In fact, we interviewed Jason Hawes on the show one time. And that started for me. And then some people in town we hooked up with a couple times and did stuff with them. And that was always cool. But, yeah, and even when we used to do the Zubu tour, we always said going in before everything, no one screws around, right? No one fakes anything. Let's keep it real. And if we don't catch anything, we just don't catch anything. We just tell everybody about the next day of the show because we would spend the night in a place. and then do our show from that place the next day, and then get on the road after the show to the next place, spend the night there, right? We did that. Shoot, one time we stayed in like 4 or 5 different places, I think.
You had 3 years where it was real elaborate.
Yeah. But our whole thing was don't screw around, don't do any phony sounds, don't do anything like this. If we catch anything, we catch anything. And it was pretty cool. And I think that's how a lot of those shows started off, but then, it'd be like 2 or 3 shows and you wouldn't get nothing, so everybody started going, well, okay, we got to start making something better, be possessed. And I always, whatever. No, I don't want to play with it. I believe in God. I think you do too. So this devil stuff, if the devil's real, that means God's real. So I feel like I'm protected.
I've seen a few where they mess with the Ouija boards and they got this new guy. What's this? I can't remember the new guy that's on that Ghost Adventures where he actually does ceremonies. And I'm like, man, you guys shouldn't be screwing with that stuff. You know what I mean?
I ain't playing
because if you read their books, and I don't know if Zach's read one, if you read Nick's books, he'll tell you about the things that have followed him home, as I use air quotations. And look, I know, like, when they talk about it following home, it's not necessarily, spooky poltergeist movie stuff happening in your house. But he talks about having bad dreams and not being able to sleep and really dark thoughts. And so,
Dude, I had one last night, and this lady was in it, was talking to me, and I got up and I said, it was like one of those where you're trying to recognize, and then I got close to her face, and the face started changing, the teeth started getting nasty, and she's whispering something. And I'm like going, oh, you're dreaming. This isn't real. You could open your eyes. But I started going, I think she's warning me about something. And I could see her mouthing something, but I had no idea what it was. And then finally I said, okay, I'm tired of being scared. Open my eyes. And I opened my eyes. So I knew I was waking, but I don't know if I was having a vision or something.
The hell you get a hold of last night?
Or am I just been the ex-wife saying, you still owe me money?
Dude, who'd you buy from last night?
Yeah.
I'd say it was, that's crazy. I would not have liked that dream.
No.
Well, glad to hear that. I mean, you only got all this stuff in your house. Your house is fully decked out. Yeah, I love this time of year, but I'm with you. I can't do the corn mazes. Like, that's too much. It's too much time. We always go to the pumpkin festival over at Chatfield Farms.
Right.
And they've got guys on the raised, I can't remember what they're called now, but the scissor lifts.
Yeah.
That
I think they're called a scissor lift.
So they can point out to you, okay, just go here, here, and here if you just want to tap out. But from what you're describing, that sounds, I couldn't deal with that. But see,
2 hours and 20 minutes at least.
now what about this zombie paintball? We got into zombie paintball one day on the show, and a guy ended up calling in that said he was an actor in the zombie paintball, and he goes, it was the worst way to make $15 an hour that I've ever had, because he said they don't get the paintball guns, they just have to run around and get tagged by. He said he got hit one time in the throat, and he just laid down and didn't want to get shot anymore.
Well, I was reading something, and I got invited to a zombie painting thing, but you had to sign up for it and do all this stuff. And I started thinking about it. Well, zombies aren't armed, so I'm like, who the hell would sign up for that job? Because I've done some self-defense sim training where you're not using paint guns, but you're using dummy rounds that come out. They're just like that. They're like those little airsoft-like things or whatever. And I caught this guy moving, and they're full face geared and shielded, and I caught him right where the shield wasn't on his side.
Weak point.
Dude, and he had a welt there, and this is like a little airsoft-like type dummy rounds, right? But then paintballs, my son-in-law plays paintball. He said, he tells me, he said, it catch you wrong. He said, you can have all the clothes or whatever on. If it catch you wrong, he said, it hurts. It leaves marks.
Oh, I've had buddies. I got like 3 or 4 friends that have done it. I've seen the welts after.
Yeah, no.
And ain't no joke.
Hey, so here's $50. Be a zombie. Go.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to shoot you in the face.
I think the zombie people think. My guess is you think you get to be outside. It won't be that bad. Nobody will catch me, and then they do. Then you get Mr. Sharpshooter. Who is our guy from? Who was the American Sniper? What was his name? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Kyle. Yeah.
Anyway,
Kyle something.
You get that version of the paintball guy out there just picking you off. I don't know. It was funny when the guy called in because he was just like, man, it was the worst idea ever. I will never do it again.
I don't know how anybody would. I mean, there's certain things that, certain jobs you wouldn't necessarily volunteer for unless hey, by the way, you're going to do this for 5 nights. We'll give you $1,000. Well, okay, now you might think about it. But $50?
Yeah, he was making $15 an hour, he said.
No.
Yeah. No, thank you. What about how, like, I wonder about the haunted houses now. Like, they do the 13th floor is so famous around here and all that. I mean, I've been to 1 or 2 haunted houses, and they were fun. It was back in my 20s. But I feel like we've become such an aggressive people. I don't know. Like, jackassery was going on before social media made us all so bold to be pricks to each other.
Right.
I can only imagine what that's like now. If you want to tweet us any stories, by the way, if you listen to this, please do. By the way, what was the worst job you ever had?
Well, one of the first jobs I did, and there was a big banquet, and they needed a dishwasher. And so I guess I bust tables, and then I learned about industrial dishwashers, which, by the way, those are cool. This big giant box, you're like slamming stuff in there, but you're coming. I mean, your hands are getting raw and wet and hot and steamy, and and all that. Then you're taking the trash and the garbage, you're scraping it off, and then you got to pull the trash bags out. That was a nasty job. I hated that one. One year I loaded trucks, which was a good paying job at the time, $9 an hour. But I mean, we're like, oh, dude, we're getting rich. But they were allowed to have, it was a unionized truck depot, and they were allowed to have like 2 summer workers. I was one of them. Well, the union dudes sit around, I loaded a check. They're taking smoke breaks, every 10, 15 minutes, and the foreman couldn't say nothing. Well, guess who went in the union? And so, dude, I would go out there, and it'd be in the summertime in Arkansas, and you'd be loading a truck, and it'd be 110 outside, and you're in this little bitty truck that's been beat on by the sun, and you're loading 200 boxes of Kewpie dolls or something, whatever. That was a tough job. I mean, you get out of that thing. I tell you one of the funniest moments. I did the graveyard shift, and so I worked from 4 a.m. till noon. So they call you at 2 a.m., right? Boom, get there. You check in by 4, work your shift, and you're out about noon. And so me and this guy worked together and said, there's a McDonald's over here. Boom, let's go hit McDonald's. So we go hit McDonald's. We sit there and got our food. I said, I gotta go bathroom. I've been working since 4 a.m. till noon. Probably went to bed at, 11 or 12 and slept till 2, right, before they woke you up. So I go to the bathroom, I go in the stall. I'm sitting there just taking the squirt. My eyes are half closed, open up. All of a sudden, the door opens, somebody walks in. You look over. It's a lady. She goes, woo! And then runs out the door. And I just started laughing. But boy, how embarrassed must she feel, walked in the boys' room. I go down, sit down in my seat, look back to where the bathrooms are at the side. I was sitting there taking a squirt in the women's room. And I know nowadays I could identify and I'd be good and all that stuff. But this is like 1980, right?
Yeah.
1979, before people identified. And dude, I'm sitting there thinking, oh, she has to feel like a dummy. And all of a sudden I look up and next thing I know, I see this couple, and it's a lady and their husband walk by, and I guarantee you, there's the dumbass that was, sitting there peeing. And I was just standing up, and then I started thinking, yeah, there wasn't no urinal. There wasn't no urinal, but I was so tired.
Let's be honest. Hey, man, I've done that.
Dude, when you're that tired?
I wasn't tired. I was at a Kohl's, and usually to the left was the men's and to the right, So I I didn't really even look at the sign. I went in there like you, was like, just, first whatever. And I went to the bathroom, and I came out as a lady walked in. She gave me a crazy look and walked out of there. And like you, was like, go to the right room.
Yeah.
And then I washed my hands, and like you, I'm like, wait a minute, there's no stand-up stalls in here. You realize you're the dumbass.
There's a great line from Peter O'Toole. And I think the movie is called My Favorite Year. It's about this old movie star actor, and he's doing like one of those, Carol Burnett type shows, but from the 50s or something, right? And he's in the ladies' room. He was having a conversation with somebody, but then he just stops. He decides to take a squirt. And this old lady comes in here was one of the main characters, good character, comic relief in the movie. She goes, hey, this is for ladies only. He turns around and he goes, madam, This is too, but every once in a while I have to run a little water through it.
What movie was that?
I think it's called My Favorite Year.
It was?
It's a great, with Peter O'Toole. It's a great movie.
Wasn't he the Pink Panther?
Oh, Peter O'Toole. He was Lawrence of Arabia.
Okay.
One of those famous old movies.
I don't know.
He was King Arthur, I think, or in Camelot. I think he might have been King Arthur in Camelot, the original.
Well, what about? I thought he was.
That might have been Richard Harris.
Like, what was with the Pink Panther? I never understood because I saw the cartoon as
That was
a kid,
Peter Sellers.
and then I would go see the Pink Panther movies, and I was like, "There's no. What's with the? There's no."
Well, they'd
Pink
have
Panther in this thing.
but they usually would have a Pink Panther cartoon before the,
I get that,
the Pink Panther movie.
but I don't get it. What did he have to do with the Pink Panther?
Because there was a famous jewel thief.
Called the Pink Panther.
And they would leave a glove line with a pink, and he was
okay.
I believe the jewel
I
thief.
was so young when those.
The
movies
jewel
were
thief
out.
was the Pink Panther.
My dad loved those movies.
I love those
I
movies.
could never follow them because I was too young. I'm like, what the hell are we watching?
Oh, it's hilarious. You'd probably go back and play and laugh now. There's one, Inspector Clouseau goes up to a guy and a dog standing beside him. He goes, "Does your dog bite?" The guy goes, "No." Goes down to pet the dog. You know, he goes, "I thought you said your dog does not bite." The guy goes, "That is not my dog." It's stupid humor like that.
Yeah.
It's stupid humor like
it's
that.
old school before old school, right?
Yeah.
By the way, are you going to see the new Ghostbusters? Are you going to either see the new Ghostbusters
There's
or the
another
last
new
Bond?
Ghostbusters?
Well, this one looks good. Okay,
Is it a real?
it's
like,
called Afterlife, and it follows more the original '80s story script where Egon's grandkid or something inherits the firehouse, which is now in the middle of nowhere, and he lets some of the original like Slimers in it and the dogs from Gozer and all that. It actually plays along the lines of the original
But is it
story.
like a comedy still too?
Yeah. Who is it? Who's our guy? Gosh, he was Sex Panther guy in
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd is in it. Yes, and then some of the kids from Stranger Things are in it that aren't kids anymore.
I don't watch
So
that movie. I don't.
You should. You dig it. You
No,
dig it big
I don't.
time.
I don't like scary movies. A, B. I really don't like them if there's kids involved. I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, I hate it too.
Now, and I've read the book, and the book is great. But I ain't gonna see no damn. By the way, the clown, you know, Nip. I saw this on Instagram, and I told the guys on the radio show this, and the guy goes, "Still the scariest thing every Halloween," and all it is you drive by the house, and it looks like there's this little boy with a yellow slicker rain jacket on, facing the house. And all of a sudden, you notice there's a red balloon. You're like, "Oh, is that?" And then you look, the balloon's right by the what is it called? The drainage thing right there. That's in front of the house.
Right.
And if you look carefully, there's that
face?
what is it? Pennywise? Sure, Mom. Face is right there in the drain, right in the sewer.
Really?
Yeah, and that's all he is. He's got that.
That's at a house?
It's a dude's house, somebody's house.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times you got to fill that balloon up or put a new balloon out there?
Well,
But I mean, still, right?
I'll tell you this. I've never watched the It's. The clown that I hate, again, Poltergeist. From my age, I saw Poltergeist at age 10 with the clown under the bed. The original Poltergeist where the clown comes out of the bed and he's got that arm that just keeps wrapping around the boy's neck. And yeah, I hated that. Yeah, clowns suck. Anyway. Oh, well, next week we'll get it done. Are you out of town? You guys are out of town, aren't you?
Nuggets
Friday,
have started 2-0. They have their third game, Cleveland. No, wait, is that right? Cleveland Monday. And then Tuesday they go to Utah. It's going to be a TNT game. They'll do that. And then they play Friday, Dallas at home, then go on the road and play Minnesota Saturday. And then there's a bunch of weird schedules like this. Then they play Saturday, Minnesota, Monday in Memphis, Wednesday in Memphis. Yeah, they're doing that 2 or 3 times. They got a long road trip in the end of November, start of December, and they go to Miami, Orlando, New Orleans, a bunch of these places over here. Then they finish San Antonio, day off, San Antonio. They do that 2 or 3 times.
That doesn't make any sense.
There's some back-to-back home games coming up here at Ball Arena in the next couple of weeks, too.
So are you going on the trips? You guys are traveling
So
again,
far,
right?
yeah, which is really weird. We did the game in Phoenix, great win. but we did the game in Phoenix, and we started figuring out it was 588 days in between road trips for us to cover the game.
Wow.
588 days.
How about that number?
Right?
Are you excited to get back into the arena and see things?
Yeah, you know what? It was cool. We did the road games last year, but we did it from a studio. And even when they started putting people in, and, the playoffs, even for the Nuggets, and I think by the second round they started filling up, it just still didn't feel right. I think people are still a lot more cautious than maybe they are now. Why, right or wrong, I don't know. But when we went and did that game in Phoenix, that first game, it was weird initially, but then you get in the game. In fact, I turned to Marlo like in the late third. I go, dude, does this feel like game 1 of 82? Because the crowd was like in it. I mean, the crowd was going nuts. Denver had been on a sweet roll. Here they made a couple threes. I mean, this crowd was in it. And I'm like, you just don't get that. You don't get that sitting in a studio, even when they started bringing crowds back last year. So, yeah, I'm excited from that standpoint. I tell you the weirdest thing, and I've been traveling with NBA teams for 20 plus years. It was weird because I couldn't remember how to pack.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It was like, I got my stuff out because I had it down, dude. I had it down. I'll tell you a little Scotty secret now. I used to, when I would go on these like the Nuggets trip coming up has 13 days and 6 games, something like that. 7 games, 6 games in 13 days. I would bring 6 different suits or 6 different sports coats. No, I finally economized. Now it's about shirts and ties and accessories. So now I might only bring 1 or 2, maybe 3 sport coats. I'll bring 5 or 6 shirts. Yeah, sometimes only 3 or 4. Rotate them in. But then I'll bring all different ties. But they pack a lot easier, right? And because, now, and one of the rules now with COVID, you got to handle your own bags. You used to be able to set them out by the door and a bellman would come and get them. Now no bellmans are allowed in the rooms. So now you go on a road trip like that, and I'm taking a bag just with radio gear, a bag just for my game notes and stuff I have for the game, and then my clothes, which is usually 2 bags on a trip like that. Now I got to haul all that stuff down.
Wow,
man, and it gets cumbersome to say the least.
Yeah, that's not fun. That doesn't sound. That part doesn't sound fun, but it'll be good.
And they got me too. I got to. I haven't told anybody this. They got me. So we do the game in Phoenix. They're on West Coast time. So instead of the normal 10 to 2 doing the radio show, it's 9 to 1. So you get up in the morning, running around, and wouldn't really want to go out. So I said, "Hey, I go room service." They had a room service menu, and it was cut down and very simple. And
yes.
I thought maybe this is just for us, right? And so they had an all-American breakfast, 2 scrambled eggs, potatoes, bacon, $14. I went, okay, that ain't too bad.
About what you expect.
Not too bad. Large pot of coffee, $10. Well, you made coffee for a while. You know how cheap that is. But,
yeah.
But still, I'm thinking, all right, $24. I can swing breakfast $24. Knock on the door pretty quick. Bing, bing, bing. Dude hands me a to-go bag and a pot of coffee. I mean, it's basically, you get a guy's mask on and everything. I open the door. He just sticks it in. Bag and it. Don't sign nothing. Don't bing, bing, bing. Boom, boom, boom. Take it. Don't see anything. Say, thank you very much. Put it in there. It's like I went and got it to go at some restaurant, right? Eat my thing, very good. Boom, boom, boom. Coffee, not as large a pot of coffee as I'd like.
Yeah, not a $10 pot of coffee.
That's about more of a $6.50. But anyway, go down and pay. $10 for coffee, $14 for.
Let me guess.
So now they put their own gratuity on. They put their own service charge on. They put their own taxes on.
50, 60.
So it was $38. $38 though.
So, yeah, well. I wanted to go hit a spot in Breckenridge just before everything got going. I had found a place on one of the Airbnb sites or whatever, I don't even remember, one of the travel sites. $200 for the weekend, okay? Memorial Day or Labor Day weekend.
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's $200. And then I saw
weekend?
the code, for Friday night, Saturday night, leave Sunday, right? Then I saw the COVID cleaning charge, which was also $200. So it became $400. And I was like, all right, dude.
Well, that's still not as bad.
No, but I mean, again, I'm not going to pay as much for you to clean it as I am for the room.
Right.
Come on, man.
That's true.
You know, come on. So, yeah, that's all kind of some of the stuff that sucks. See, what do you think? I'm just going to cut to the chase. I've enjoyed the Nuggets' first 2 games very much. I love Joker. You know, I read the profile in The Athletic on Joker. I love him even more. I got one question for you. At some point, we're going to talk about Bones Highland. But before we get to Bones, let me just ask you this. I don't know if you got a chance to read the piece in The Athletic, but I will ask you, because Joker took a ton of crap for not playing for his national
Wasn't that a
team.
good article, though?
It was a great article.
They crushed him in Serbia.
Okay, so because you read the article, I want to ask you, you know what kind of pressure Joker is under for this team to be good. If Joker ain't on, we are not a top 5 Western Conference team, right? Is there a player in your mind that deals with the kind of pressure Joker does whenever he steps on the court to play basketball, either for the Nuggets or internationally?
Yeah, honestly, Andy, I think every superstar, like the guy, like I think LeBron James, there's an expectation not only from his team and whoever he's playing for, but even the visiting team to put on a show, show me something. So I think all those guys have a moniker of pressure. The difference with Joker, Luka Doncic, all these European players, and I've said this on the radio show forever because we in basketball understand this. Soccer, same thing. There is in Italy or France or Serbia or Argentina, it's better to win an Olympic gold medal or an Olympic medal than it would be that the Ginobili won, 4 NBA championships. His one gold medal with Argentina is 10 times bigger than the 4 NBA championships. World Cups is how these countries measure themselves. And because of that, all those players are expected to come back. Well, now with Joker, here's the funny thing. The last team Joker was on, the won a medal like silver.
Was it like 2016?
Well, and he dropped 30 on the USA team and knocked them out of the gold medal round. They ended up losing, taking a bronze. Serbia did, but he crushed. He was crushing the NBA, and that's why I said, I'm telling you guys, better watch out. But that's a bigger thing than winning an MVP over here. And that's another thing. The NBA has forgot about Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
Trust me. He's not in any promos. They do that thing with USA Today or whoever did the thing with the cartoon, and it was Giannis, and everybody's coming for his crown. And dang, there's all sorts of dudes in there.
He was king of the mountain, and everybody was looking up the mountaintop.
But
you could tell by the uniforms who each player was.
But there was no Joker.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, now think about it. He wins the MVP. They get knocked out, and he goes straight to Serbia. He doesn't do the banquet tour. He's not on Conan O'Brien. He's not in the TNT studios.
Right. He's not the guest analyst.
And he's not doing all the stuff that normal MVPs would have done. He goes home. He's got a wife who's pregnant. He's going to have his first kid. In fact, I think he had just gotten married.
Hangs with his horses.
He loves his horse race, and that's his getaway time. And so everybody just kind of forgot about him over here. Well, everybody didn't forget about him over there because they're like, okay, well, now here we go, Olympics. Now, things I've heard around circles, and I've talked to different coaches who even said before he said no, he shouldn't play for that team. That coach doesn't know how to use him, doesn't play him right. He won't have any fun. Last time he went and played with him, he was on the bench as much as anything else, and I don't think he wants that experience. No one talks about that.
Right. He was miserable.
Yeah, and so why go be miserable for a guy that doesn't let him be Joker, which we see what he does, and instead wants him to be on the block and plays him 15 minutes a game. And meanwhile, I got a kid, expect my first kid at the end of the summer, early fall, late summer. No. We're going to be in Japan, and then all of a sudden got to try to get back to Serbia and say, okay, well, that's great. Now you got to quarantine before you get back in our country for 10 days. What if something goes down? And he wasn't going to take a chance and miss the birth of his kid. I don't blame him.
All right, so let me ask you this, because I've never had a chance. I've had these discussions with people. Nate and I got into a bit the other day, so maybe you already heard the question I'm going to ask you. But does it make me – because I feel this way about the Nuggets, and I feel this way about the Avs. And the Avs even a little bit more because the Olympics for the Avs are going to fall in the dead middle of the season. I would rather be selfish. I'm paying ticket costs. I want to watch. I want to raise the Stanley Cup. I want to have the Larry O'Brien Trophy. I don't really give a damn about winning gold medals because, again, and Nate even said it the other day, and you probably can appreciate this, we are spoiled as a basketball country here in the USA because we're used to that, right? That isn't some event where we got to stop, like when you upset the Russians and the Miracle on Ice and all that stuff. What was that, 82 or 80?
80.
You know, I don't know that it's the same way for me. Like, I don't care if any of our guys go to the Olympics because I don't want you hurt because I want to have a parade. Does that make me selfish? Does that make me suck in your mind?
No, it makes you American. Whereas each one of those guys, you know, Canada doesn't care all of Canada doesn't care if Montreal or Toronto or Vancouver wins the Stanley Cup as much as they care that all of Canada wins a gold medal.
Right.
You know, America, it's about our stars. You know, America wins, it's great. If they lose, who cares? I mean, one of the biggest events in the world is the World Cup in soccer. Hell, we ain't even been in the last 3 or 4.
Right.
And has that been any sweat off any American?
Well, no, it's not our sport.
But
technically,
hey, let France not get qualified one time for.
Oh yeah.
And
then you better move out.
Cup. Or let Argentina.
Man,
not
there's some
qualify.
of those countries where you're not. Your safety is a question if you don't do well.
So it's just who we are. To be honest with you, it's kind of just who we are and what we've grown accustomed. I'm with you, Bettman, and probably had to do this. He had to acquiesce to the Olympics because guess what? The NHL, and you may not like to hear this, is not as big as the Olympics.
Right.
And I think a lot of guys would go, okay, my Russian team's going to let me compete for Finland, and they're going to pay me $2 million. I know you were paying me $6 million, but I'll just go and play in Russia for $2 million because then I know I can play in all my international competitions.
Yeah, well, look, I had to laugh. And for those that don't think that's a reality, I pointed out to people are like, well, we'll get Will Barton back for $12 million. That'll be a bargain. We're all wringing hands over Gabe Landeskog for $8 million. I just does that not tell you the difference between the leagues and the kind of money these guys could make and how little the NHL, the NHL needs to up their TV deals or something. But anyway, to your point, that just shows
now let's
you.
speak of that, though. Have you liked the beginning of Turner Sports hosting Olympics?
I have.
Or hosting hockey stuff?
I've liked Turner. I think it's incredibly important for the sport that it's on a TNT and an ESPN. Because you know what? I just flip through there in my normal channel flipping viewing, okay? When you were on NBC Sports, man, I forgot that thing existed till maybe Stanley Cup time.
Yeah, till playoff time.
Right? But look, growing up, when the Avs first got here, man, and you know this, you were doing radio at the time, ESPN was something I just went to at night, okay?
Yeah.
All right, what am I going to watch? There's no TV show on?
Let's be honest, it made Barry Melrose a household name.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, I had no idea. I remember because I liked him on his analyst stuff, and they'd always make fun. It was always cutesy and all that stuff. I said, who the hell Barry Melrose? Oh, he coached LA Kings. He coached Wayne Gretzky. He did this. I'm like, oh, dude, he's had some. I mean, he's somebody, right? Or was somebody. No, I think it's big too. Plus, there's a vibe now with Turner Sports that it's hipper, and I don't think that hurts the NHL to get quote unquote hipper.
No, I think you're absolutely right, and you got to show these. The problem is Wayne Gretzky's so damn stiff. And it was funny to watch some of the guys, Paul Bissonnette and Anson Carter and those guys, flip him some crap. And then they kind of, Paul just immediately, he felt bad or something. I should be making fun of the great one. Boy, you're lucky I ain't on there. I'd be talking about that fake-ass hairpiece you got sitting on top of your head. How
ain't a
you
hairpin.
got black hair like that?
He
Come on,
dyed
now.
it. That's a bad dye
Dude,
job.
you were Mr. Blonde.
That's a bad dye
Go
job.
ahead and be old a little bit. It's all right, man. It happens to all of us. Don't be a plastic figure. You don't walk right out of the wax museum, make it weird, Jerry Jones.
Yeah, I saw it the first night. I said, dude, you went a little overboard on the dark. I mean, you were kind of blondish brown, if anything.
Hey, look, Ward Cleaver, calm down with that black hair.
I mean, go a little dark brown. How about a little dark chestnut or something?
Pepper or something.
But black. But yeah, he did have a good line though. I mean, I think Gretzky's funnier than you realize. But listen, anytime you're talking about a guy in a sport, because there's always argument with Jordan, LeBron, Jordan, Kobe. There ain't no argument in hockey. There's no argument in hockey.
He's the dude.
Who the greatest one is. I mean, if you took all of his goals, you took all the goals away, he'd still be the leading scorer in NHL history by like 3,000 or 4,000 points.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's stupid. So there's no arguing that but he's had some good lines. Like somebody were busting him on one of the nights, probably the Bissonnette you're talking about. And he goes, tell me again, I forgot, how many rings you get? Or how many cups you win?
Right.
Or something like that,
Which is the ultimate shut up we learned when Waugh said it to Roenick. Right?
Yeah. So now I like it. I like it that they're putting him with Shaq and Charles, and they're trying to loose him up. Because, listen, Charles, I love Charles. He ain't got no ring, but he's a hell of a player. One of the top 50 of all time, now one of the top 75 of all time, blah, blah, blah. But he don't bow down to Shaq. You know, Shaq's got 4 rings or whatever, 3 rings. He don't bow down to Shaq.
And that's what it's got. That's what you know. See, it's great that you bring that up because I didn't really think about that. Kenny Smith and Charles will just wear Shaq out like you know what I mean, like a dog chasing a ball. And they need. And
Kenny Smith's got 2 rings with Houston, but you know. Say thank you, Mr. Hakeem Olajuwon.
Right. Yeah. Well, but my point is, if you're just going to sit here and bow down to the great one, then this ain't going to go anywhere. You know what I mean? Because you know how it is. You'll talk to great. You and I have even had this happen in interviews. Like Rod Smith can tell me why something's working for him, or why. You know why? Because he's had to work at it. You try to get Champ to explain it. I don't know, man. It clicked in. Who was the last guy? Maybe it was Akeeb, but there was some interview I was doing a few years ago where it finally clicked into me. This guy's not being a jerk to me. Life has just been, in this sport, it really has been easy for him. So he doesn't know how to break it down for you because it's always been just what he does and it's easy. You know what I mean?
I've told you a story before about this great golfer friend of mine who was a plus handicap, which is really good. When you're like most of them are -3, -4, he was a +2 in his 70s. I mean, he was this great golfer. And I'm trying to figure out my thing, and he had this house on the golf course. He had his own, the maintenance crew would come over and build him a little practice green, a little practice chipping area, and he would go out and hit balls out his backyard. Because he's in the Hall of Fame of golf, right? So I'm talking to him, and he's come out and watching. Well, hit a couple. Grab your 7-iron. I said, okay. Hit like 6 or 7 balls. I said, let me see that thing. Now he takes my club. Now I'm 6'10". He's probably, pretty good sized guy. He's probably 6'1".
Okay.
But he ain't 6'10". My clubs are
it ain't his club.
No, it ain't his club. He hits like 7 7-irons. You could probably take a blanket off a king-size bed 165, 70 yards down the fairway we're hitting down, and lay that blanket on top of the balls.
They're all?
Yeah, that's where he hit them. With my club.
Like groupings at a shooting range?
Yeah, he picks up the club, looks at it, hands it to me, and goes, just do it like that. Now, calling him a dick. Most people, if you and I were to do something like that, okay, you're being a dick, right?
Yeah.
No, he was serious, but it goes back to what you're talking about, Talib. It was so easy to him. He didn't really know how to teach it. Didn't even really know how to tell me how he did it. He just said, just do it like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's what I want to do.
Yeah. Those are the tips that I need to get there.
Yeah, I need the steps to get to do that.
Yeah. You don't think I'm not trying there?
Yeah, but I agree with you. I think great players are like that. It was funny they were going back to Gretzky, and they had they put Charles in the net, and he's 10 or 15 feet away, blah blah blah, and now this guy's 60-some years old. right? Probably hadn't played like competitive hockey in a long time. I'm sure he still skates. If he calls up Joe Sakic and says, "Hey Joe, after shooting around, can I use your ice for 20 minutes just get a little skate in?" Sakic's going to, yeah. Wayne, go ahead.
We're good.
Yeah, no problem.
I don't think anyone's going to stop you.
He could probably do that in any.
Hey.
He could probably do it in any professional ice rink in the
Do me
world.
a favor. Get rid of some of the black in the hair, and we're good. You can
Yeah. Just don't
wash some of that black out.
Yeah, just don't rub your head on the ice. We got to use it tomorrow night, right? But
if any of the pucks get scuffed, rub it in
I
your
don't know
hair.
I don't know if you saw that. All of a sudden, like Charles is going to, and he just said, pick, just wrist it, lower, 5-hole, okay, upper left, and I'm like thinking, people don't understand. He's 60-some years old, and I know he's the greatest that's ever played, but he still has a skill to be able to lift the puck off a flat surface, off the air in 10 feet, and put it where exactly he wants it to go. And I don't know if you've ever played with a stick and tried to do that. That ain't easy.
No, it's not easy.
And so I'm sitting there watching this as an ex-jock, if you will, going, oh, dang. Everybody's laughing because Charles can't stop him. And I'm going, he's going to put it wherever he wants to.
Yeah.
He's still, and it'd be like, Wayne, how do you do that? Well, no, just you take the risk and he may not even be able to teach that.
Right, because again, it's so natural.
So natural to him.
It's not something.
Go back and
I had
watch
to
that
teach
highlight
myself.
from that opening night of the NHL on TBS or TNT, and him going shooting pucks on it's probably on YouTube, and just go back and look and just see he puts the puck and it scores. He scores it every single time. Doesn't miss one left. And it's like, dude. I mean,
I know. Trust me.
How do you do that?
There was a time I watched. There's one time, where was it, 2007, I watched Champ Bailey cover Javon Walker. And I mean, they both, the fluidness of the hip movements, it was just effortless inside each, because Javon, now look, man, Javon, Javon lost his marbles watching Darren get his head blown all over his chest, but dude, Javon was smooth, man. He was every bit as smooth as Champ, and Champ was Champ would just flip effortlessly, and I would think, I'd probably trip myself 3 times trying to do what he just did right there. And it was just a lot of fun to watch, and again, it's just something where you can't even describe it. I'll tell you what.
Well, let me tell you a Champ Bailey thing real fast. I know I've never told you this. So they were doing something at the Pep Center at the time. I don't know if it was some charity game or something. They got to play some kids or some high school or whatever. Then Champ played when they do it. Game's over, and I don't know if I was coaching one of the teams or doing something like that. It was just one of those goofy things. And ball's like laying on the ground. And Champ's just walking to the basket, picks up at the dotted line, bounces real hard, jumps up, touches the back of his. Now he's only 6'2", maybe, right?
Yeah.
Touches the ball in the back of his spine and dunks it from basically a flat jump. And I went, that dude plays football.
Yeah.
That's a football guy. I mean, there ain't a guy in the NBA that would have saw that when they go, damn. I mean, I ain't lying.
Okay.
There ain't a guy in the NBA that wouldn't have looked at him and went, I mean, I could do that on a good day after warming up, and have my legs, actually. But he just went up there nonchalant, boom, tapped the back of his back, dunked it, and I went, okay.
Yeah.
That's an athlete right
You're
there.
good.
That's an athlete right there.
I don't want to belabor points on the Broncos.
Well, we were right. The defense isn't that good, and we've been saying it for a while.
You were right.
No one wanted to listen.
I thought they were good in camp. I told Nate I was disappointed through the first 3 weeks despite the stats, but during camp, man, they had me fooled. I thought this thing was set to be special, and it couldn't be I couldn't be any further away from what they are right now.
No, and I try to tell everybody this too. The no-fly zone when they won Super Bowl 50. Everybody, cool name. I mean, one of the great. It goes up there with the Orange Crush, the
Mile
no-fly
High
zone.
Salute, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it's right up there with one of the cool nicknames. But you know why Ward and Chris Harris and Talib and Stewart were so good? Because the guys named DeMarcus Ware, Malik Jackson, Wolf,
Miller.
Them guys helped make them guys look as good as they did. Because quarterbacks didn't have time.
Well, and I will also tell you, I mean, the whole damn defense, dude, because you know who was an underrated tackler? I will never forget. Brandon Marshall. Remember the big old back, number 28, he just rolled through town with the Ravens. Why can't I remember his? Anyway, Cat was playing for the Raiders. I mean, a big old joker playing running back. This Brandon Marshall, I remember watching it, both meetings. Boom, got to him. That's the end of the run. That's it. Big back, doesn't matter. You couldn't break his tackle. Danny Trevathan, we still don't appreciate the coverage linebacker Danny Trevathan was.
No.
And the Broncos didn't apparently appreciate it.
Well, how about Wesley Woodyard?
Yeah.
As kind of a nickel linebacker, come in there and guard tight ends. I think it was Wesley. Wasn't it Wesley that had the big pass breakup in that game in Detroit against Calvin Johnson? Yep. I mean, that was a big play. That was a monster play late in that game. Dude, but for me, and I know everybody's getting on the defensive backfield has not been good. Absolutely right. But you're going to give, first of all, they said don't put any pressure on Jackson. He can't throw it. Yes, he can. And he had no pressure, and he picked him apart for only a second 300-yard passing game in his career. Then you're going to go to Ben Roethlisberger, who can't move, and you still get no pressure.
You can't get home on him.
And you can't get any pressure.
You know where he was the whole time. It's a sitting target.
And with the new offensive line that's been getting crushed all year.
Yeah.
So once I saw that game for sure, I said, dude, they in trouble.
They're not physical enough, man.
Oh, my God. You know what? To me, the worst word that you can be called as a pro athlete, maybe as an athlete, soft. That team's soft. The Avs last year in the postseason, especially in that second round, got soft. You can't win in at that level in the NFL or in the Stanley Cup Finals for sure because the game slows down. The ice shrinks, right? You see it.
The refs aren't calling everything.
And if you ain't a physical team, you ain't got shot. You had a good buddy of yours tell you that before the playoffs. He said, dude, they're not physical enough. They're kind of soft. And you and I were talking about it on radio shows. And everybody's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And guess what?
All we got told is we didn't understand. We don't know modern hockey.
You don't know modern hockey. Yeah, how'd that speed game work?
Yeah, ask Montreal and Tampa. They about gave it up to Tampa last night, man. And Tampa's got a bunch of big dudes.
And it was the same thing when the Nuggets got knocked out 4-0 to Phoenix. Phoenix got more physical than Denver. And other than Joker, they were able to take everybody else out of the game.
Let me ask you this. You want to know what was depressing to me? When I watched Tennessee Buffalo, and that was like two heavyweights just standing in the middle of the ring, just decking each other.
Because that was a great physical defensive game, and it was 34-31.
Right. And those
34-31.
I mean, they were knocking the snot out of each other, right? Did you not watch that and go, man, Denver's so far away from playing this style of football on either side?
Not even close. Not even close.
So what would be – because
how about this? And I know Kansas City's playing bad right now. They got hammered on Sunday. But did you see Buffalo hammer them?
Yeah.
How close are you to that Buffalo team?
Well, you're not close to Buffalo. You're not close to Tennessee. You're not close to Baltimore.
Well, Tennessee did it again the week after. They did it to Kansas City, too.
Today?
Yeah, so Buffalo and Tennessee in back-to-back weeks just took it to Kansas City.
Kansas City can't block anything.
And you watch. Kansas City will beat Denver by 24.
Right. Tell me you're not fearing the Charger-Kansas City matchups now. Now they're talking about trading Kyle Fuller before the deadline, and I'm like, well, okay, that's fine. That's great. What are you going to have left when you got to play those two teams that just throw it all day long? They may put 50 each on you.
I don't know, man.
What would you do right now? Because, we had Leggy on the other day, and I love Leggy. But Leggy just said, look, firing a coach, all that does is make you feel good right now. That's not going to fix anything. Yeah, it's one less person trying to help you figure it out. And so I know he's right deep down when it comes to Fangio. But, dude, I don't care if you fire Shermer. Shermer doesn't seem to know what he's – like, none of what he does seem to make sense. And I had a buddy tell me that Pat Shermer's always been the guy. He doesn't have an identity. He just thinks he's gonna amoeba his way to what he thinks he's facing that week. You and I both know, like everybody was going, why is Cleveland running all over him? You and I both know Cleveland ran all over the Broncos because they know what they are, and they know what they are as a run system. They know how they got to do it.
And they know what they are with their top two running backs out.
Yeah,
still
because
know
they're
what they are.
dedicated to it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's why that looked like one of those games that Mike Shanahan would have where, we're down to Olandis Gary, fine, get in there.
Yeah,
We got to play Mike
Here's
Anderson,
205 yards for you, Indianapolis, with Olandis Gary. Yeah, here's Mike Anderson, New Orleans, coming in there setting a NFL rookie rushing record. Thank you. I know he's just a rookie. Sorry, we're going to drop 185 yards on you.
Mike Bell, Selvin Young. How many guys we got to go
Reuben
through?
Drones.
Reuben Drones. Just plug them in. We're going to run. We got a fullback. We know what we are, and we're going to kick your ass at the point of attack.
Yep.
So, to me, get rid of Pat Shurmur. I don't care.
And if you don't want to fire him, that's great. I would reassign him. I'd fire him. Well, and I don't even like saying that because I don't like saying I'd fire anybody. But I would see if Mike Shula and Mike Munchak together could invite.
I would go with Munchak.
Well, I don't know. Is Shula any good? I don't know. He was a head coach once, wasn't he?
Yeah. No. Yeah, like long ago in
David
Cincinnati.
Shula was.
But Munchak guided successful Tennessee teams. He at least has a pedigree of getting something out of some folks.
I bet you if he called plays, you'd be dedicated to run. And I'm going to say another thing also. Melvin Gordon's played well. There ain't nothing bad against Melvin Gordon, but Williams is a better player.
Yeah, why you see? Here's the thing. So I watched that Kansas City Tennessee game, and I watched the Tennessee Buffalo game. I'm kind of beginning to like the Titans, right? Why can't, instead of trying to find the next Mahomes, which good luck, why can't you go draft well in your offensive line, dedicate to this kid Javonte Williams, who is a physical run, not quite King Henry, but the guy doesn't look like he's fun to tackle, especially get later in the game. Why can't you try to put that team together with a good, strong defense? Why are you trying to find the super quarterback that clearly you can't?
I do not know. Because everybody wants pretty. And you know what pretty is? Winning. It's kind of like everybody, well, they don't look like they have fun. Well, no crap. They lost 4 games in a row. Ain't no team I've ever been on had fun losing 4 games in a row.
Well, here's the thing, man. We had a lot of people complaining to us about that 3-0 start, and all I kept remembering was, you know what, at least I feel good on a Monday. I don't know when we're going to feel good on a Monday again. Football team, maybe, on Halloween. The Eagles, maybe.
Maybe.
Detroit, maybe. But, hey, Detroit got physical. Detroit got physical, gave the Rams game today now. Detroit showed up in L.A., didn't lay down. I don't know, Scotty.
By the way, before we got to end the show, I got to tell you a funny story again, football-wise. So did you see the Tampa Bay game and all?
Yeah.
See Brady,
Yep.
another 4 touchdowns. But there's a young man up there with a sign that says, Tom Brady helped me survive brain cancer. Just had a little woo, you know. And Brady comes up after the game, gives him a hat, gives him a glove, talks to him after the game and everything like that. So the Ward showed me all the videos on it. She has a Brady jersey we wore for the Super Bowl last year, right? And we couldn't stand him in New England. Couldn't stand him. But he's converting a whole lot of people now. I think a lot of people that hate him in New England now are kind of like, oh, God, to where this tonight for UK Warrior. The Warren goes. She goes, and she had tears in her eyes, and she don't cry. She's a hard, cold-hearted fish. I'm telling you. She goes to me, with tears in her eyes and her voice breaking. That's my quarterback.
I think everybody in Denver does feel a little dirty. It's hard to hate him without Belichick around.
Oh, my God. But I got the Warden, who's the biggest Bronco fan in the world. She goes, that's my quarterback.
That's my guy.
I'm like, oh,
Can I tell you who my new man boo is? My new quarterback?
I'll tell you mine is.
Joe
Burrow. That's what I was going to say.
I'm loving that kid.
That dude can play. And you know what? Why I'm so glad he's having successful? I want the kid in New England who went out today, and I think
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. I want him to be good.
Yeah, well,
all these people goes, he only played 1 year. Yeah, in the SEC, went undefeated, beat Alabama twice, and oh, by the way, set an NCAA record for completion percentage.
I just like some about the kid, man. I may get me a Burrow jersey eventually. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm thinking about it.
I like the white one with the tiger stripes on the thing.
It's a sharp look, isn't it?
It's a sharp look.
This may have to become the Joe Burrow fan podcast.
And if we ever get the Warden on the show, we got to make sure we talk about that's our quarterback.
Yeah.
My quarterback.
He's like Terrell Owens from back in the
Hey,
day.
Warden, who's your quarterback?
Wow.
Brady.
Kind of sass about it. All right. Well, we'll talk to you post Halloween, and hopefully we'll see Bones play by then. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I'd like to see him play.
Night, Scott.
Night.